Hello, chat. Hello, YouTube. What is going on? It is a beautiful day. I am off for the entire week. Well, almost the entire week. At least until Friday. And I wanted to come on and react to some stuff with y'all. Excuse me. We are going to get into what I missed on my last stream. So those will be the first two videos. This current one is going to be Casual Geographic. Why these fish belong in a horror movie more than sharks. I think you'll like it. I love scary fish. I don't know if y'all watched River Monsters, but that was one of my major fixations on Animal Planet at the time. That and The Most Extreme and Monsters Inside Me. Those were all super good shows. I really love them. I wish, they were still around, but they're really not anymore. They've gone to more reality type, shows. But you know what? They're still teaching about animals, so that's okay. But let's jump into it, and hopefully you enjoy this. Grab some popcorn, guys. Jesus Christ!
Eu gostei assim, amostradinho.
That motherfucker looks like a demon. That looks like a fucking smiler. That looks like a smiler from the back rooms. What the fuck?
You know, the greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was convincing the world that sharks are the only things to fear in the water. There be monsters. In the last video, we talked about how sharks might just be the most misunderstood creatures in nature, with a PR team that works about as hard as a whiteout's brain after 6 rounds of CTE. They've been done so dirty, they've actually overshadowed the other ichthyological insanity spawned from Satan's septic tank. These are 7 fish.
I love Goliath groupers. They're one of the biggest, derpiest fish I've ever seen.
That should honestly terrify you more than any shark. This isn't really to substitute one fear for another, but I do think these fish can make a much more traumatizing.
I love how he screams, man. The way his fins fold out. Roar! Oh man, put a metal scream by that, and it just fits so perfectly. You know what I mean?
Nightmare-inducing horror flick than Jaws, and it starts right here. Those eyes belong to a pair of arapaimas, also known as a pirarucu. You've definitely seen them before. Does this video ring a bell? Definitely rang his. It's one of the biggest freshwater middle fingers nature forgot to vault, usually growing to over 6 feet long and 200-something pounds. It's bad enough those are
They're
NBA point
boneheads.
guard measurements, but
Literally.
the beefiest ones can get to 10 feet in length and weigh over 400 pounds. This Jurassic roid guppy usually eats other fish to go with fruits and seeds, but also birds and
Did you see how he suctioned that bitch like he was a black hole in the water? Just gone. Gone. Dead. Like, he gone. He gone.
allegedly even monkeys sitting on branches too close to water. And if you don't believe that, it's because you haven't seen them hunt. They're explosively quick, and the aquatic black hole has been known to confuse feet for fish and violently pull people underwater. One zookeeper reportedly made the mistake of trying to retrieve a glove that had fallen into an arapaima pool, and in a split second got his hand, wrist, and several fingers broken. There's also the fact that a refrigerator-sized fish will yeet themselves out of water in self-defense. And let's talk about that defense. The plus-size bite chick.
Oh, her fingers are broke. Her fingers are snapped like a damn fucking twig. Oh my god. Jesus.
Is covered in heavily armored scales, not only tough enough to tank piranha attacks, locals historically use them as nail files. They've also used their tongues as scrapers, since these fish have teeth growing out of a bony tongue that can be used to effectively crush struggling prey against the roof of their mouths. You know nature got in his back.
Okay. Just hear me out. I know this is not ethical. But what if people back in the day used arapaima scales as chainmail? Think about it. Think about it for a second. Because I promise you, if it can take on piranhas with those scales, imagine how it would handle a sword.
bag when it made a fish that could breathe air, and the Antichrist of the Amazon has a modified swim bladder that was repurposed as lungs, meaning this flex of a fish can survive 24 hours out of water.
Jesus!
On one hand, that means they have to come up for air every 20 minutes or suffer the eternal shame of being a fish that finds a way to drown. But it also works out for them because in low oxygen water where most fish become slow and sluggish, the air merchant menace can pretty much go on a killing streak. Now the question is, could an arapaima pack up a person?
Oh!
While there's no indication they see us as a snack, there are old stories of high-strung assault guppies effectively drowning people, likely by knocking them unconscious and leaving them incapacitated underwater. Not him, he's fine. You can unclench guidelines, he's good. But one man that almost wasn't was Jeremy Wade. He probably needs no introduction, but long story.
I remember Jeremy Wade fucking was unconscious because of this motherfucker, and they were worried he suffered brain damage. Mind you, there were multiple people holding this fucking fish after he caught it. It was a scary episode. I didn't think he was going to come back.
Story short, he's a zoologist who hosted the show River Monsters, which ended, but only because he caught every fish nature had to offer. But he almost caught an early life retirement after a pissed off paima struck him square in the chest and nearly caused irreversible damage to his heart.
He did get hit in the chest, but he also fucking fell. And that's why he almost had brain damage. But bro, that was a scary fucking episode. That and the stingray that he caught. That big flat one that you saw in the first picture. That barb on his tail. Oh man, there were times where I was clenching my booty cheeks.
Not only did this fish nearly have us singing, the suspect wasn't more than 90 pounds. Remember, the overachievers can press the scales at 400 or, 180 kilograms worth of kill a man. So yeah. The arapaima is a shack-sized, air-breathing, armor-plated predatory vacuum, and strangely enough, it's not the fish I'm most scared of in the Amazon. But we'll get to that. The piranha actually isn't. If you remember from an earlier video, piranhas might be just as misunderstood
Piranhas aren't
as
that
sharks.
bad.
They're mostly just scavenging opportunists that our childhoods convinced us were way more of an issue. You cannot say this.
Piranhas are not that bad. Okay, piranhas are not that bad. A lot of people think they are still, and it's specifically the red bellies. Jeremy Wade on one episode caught a black piranha, and they're a lot bigger. And they're a little scarier just because of the fact that their teeth are much larger. But people use piranha jaws as scissors, man. Piranha literally means scissor fish. Like, people stereotype and mistreat certain animals just based on horror stories. Now, the pacu. The pacu is a cousin to the red-bellied piranha. He just looks like a giant one with human-like teeth. They are supposed to be plant eaters. But Jeremy was catching them in the Amazon because they started having beef with the crocodiles. And they were neutering people that would come in the water. Because they had pretty much eaten most of the plants in the area. So they were starting to hunger for something else.
Same for their cousins found in the Congo basin of Central Africa. The Goliath tigerfish can grow to nearly 5.
Oh yeah, the Goliath tigerfish is a big one. Hey, Code, we're reacting to scary fish on Casual Geographic for this first video.
Feet long, over 100 pounds, and they're what people were told piranhas are times 10. They're in the same order,
Tigerfish are scary.
where piranhas are primarily a swimming cleanup crew. Tigerfish actively hunt for their bodies, and you'll find out nature built this prehistoric problem to do exactly that. They have sharp dagger-like teeth that many swear are comparable to that of a great white, although I personally see them as more conical, like a crocodile, which is a coincidence since the saltwater variety are their only natural predators. But of course, the swimming expletive has also been known to murk.
Yeah, this guy eats people. This guy, National Geographic, he's Casual Geographic, but he is talking about some stuff related to Animal Planet, because these specific fish were featured on River Monsters, but they're fucking terrifying. The Goliath tigerfish, like, the one that Jeremy Wade caught, was destroying a village because it was eating so many people. Like, the whole village thanked him.
Smaller crocs. They have eerily.
The boyfriend is home. Hi, baby. Stonefish. You know that the male elephant seals stonefish and electric eel. Those are things that scare me. I don't blame you. Especially on the stonefish. The stonefish is scary.
Enjoy the casual geographic reaction.
Yeah.
Strong eyesight to track prey, special organs to detect the vibrations they make underwater, and they're strong enough to...
Specifically that some stonefish can create electric charge on the bottom. Yeah, no, that's fucked. This tigerfish is an albino, it looks like.
brute force their way through the turbulent waters of their hunting grounds. They're considered one of the toughest freshwater fish time left behind. Tigerfish are even...
He got mollywopped in the face.
With an octopus?
With a fish. Fish jumped out his face to try and bite his neck.
On record snatching birds out of the air. Not just birds, but swallows. Some of the fastest and most maneuverable out there.
Male elephant seals are more scary though. They're huge. Yeah, and they're super territorial. They are. Like, they will hurt people. I've seen them IRL. Don't ask. They're fucking loud with that giant nose. Yeah. They got the big schnoz. The trunk.
100 birds got permanently grounded by tigerfish in just over 2 weeks. They're so feared that in many places they're only known by one name, Benga, meaning the dangerous fish. There's even a story of a young girl wearing a belt made out of bottle caps in order to ward off evil spirits. Ironically, it did the exact opposite and attracted a tigerfish who apparently confused the bottle caps for fish scales and nearly bisected the girl.
Jesus!
Allegedly, it's an extremely fast, explosive vice grip with almost zero prey prejudice. And I'd still rather take a bite from them than the fish up next. And that's because next is the candiru. And a lot of y'all already know what road we're going.
Alright, I need to talk about Casual Geographic and the candiru. Candiru was one of the fish that was caught on river monsters. You know, they talk about the whole thing where, like, a candiru swam up this man's Jolly Rancher. Actually, you can get, like, French Pacific, like, French Antarctica shit to see those animals. Okay. But they were talking on Animal Planet on River Monsters specifically about the candiru asu catfish. You know, swimming up the man's Jolly Rancher and fucking getting it surgically removed.
Going down. The candiru is a tiny parasite in the Amazon, also nicknamed the...
Yeah, I know it's not the only fish.
Vampire fish for their habit of invading the gills of larger fish and scraping the insides to feed off their blood. And with backward-facing spines and a powerful bite, it's nearly impossible to shake it off before it completes its liquid transaction. The horror comes from the legend of candiru being attracted to the chemicals in urine and swimming up the urethra of unlucky humans and getting stuck up there. A fate that takes surgery to reverse. Imagine a serrated, sentient toothpick in your bathing suit business and you'll see why the violation with gills is so feared. How much of this is even real?
You know what all I have to say about the surgery photos?
What?
They were doctored.
Oh my god! Okay. I don't like wasps either. Don't feel bad. Alright, let's get back to the video.
Most of the reports of people getting penetrated by peenfish are really sus at best. Apparently, they're not even attracted to the ammonia in human urine in the first place. There's a good chance that the candiru controversy came from European settlers coming home from long expeditions and telling these long, exaggerated stories to anyone who'd listen for status and attention. Yeah, but basically they were probably lying for clout. You have to remember, the whole piranha skinning a cow thing spawned from locals staging an event to impress the president. The truth is, your chances of peeing in the Amazon and getting frontal probed by a fish are about as much as you getting meal prepped by a shark or getting struck by lightning. Oh my bad. And getting struck by lightning. That being said, I'd rather get tag teamed by the pets of Poseidon and the forces of Zeus than have a bloodluster up my urethra, no Franklin. If the odds ain't zero, they're just too high for me. But I'll have you take a candiru to the mandiru, then run into aquatic op number 4. In fact, I'm so afraid of it, I actually had to break my own rule for this video. The Humboldt squid obviously isn't a fish, but it's the closest thing to a living nightmare on this.
Okay, I love squid, I love octopi, I love cephalopods. Like, I will pet a cuttlefish. But the Humboldt is like the most territorial squid I've ever seen. You look at them sideways and they come in for your throat.
List. Let's be clear. At 5 feet, about 100 pounds, there are bigger squid. What sets Humboldts apart is they can hunt in packs of over 1,000. Yeah, that's 3 zeros like a Tony Snell stat line. Nicknamed
Damn.
Diablo Rojo, there are old fisherman tales of men falling overboard, getting swarmed, and never coming back up. There's also stories of them curiously approaching divers before flipping and trying to rip their masks off. But who needs stories when marine biologist Alex Kirstich can tell you about the time several homicidal squids grabbed him and attempted to drag him down into the dark maw of the abyss.
Jesus.
It gets worse when you realize what exactly happens when a red devil decides to take you to hell. Humboldts aren't just highly intelligent, they're covered in tiny red chromatophores that they can use to rapidly change color in order to communicate with each other. It's like Morse code but for Crip and calamari.
Humboldt squid. Sperm whales are better than colossal squid, better than Humboldt squid. I like sperm whales, but I really like colossal squid. They seem really cool, and I wish we had live specimens of them.
We don't know exactly what it means, but there's a good chance if a Humboldt confronts you and starts violently flashing red, it could be telling a bunch of others you can't see that you're free eats. So likely the last thing you'll see is pulsing red before you get eaten alive. It doesn't help that satanic cephalopods are known for speed eating and are notorious for stripping fish to the bones faster than fishermen can reel them. Add a beak that can easily slice flesh and a bite force that can reportedly crack bone. And I think you see why I'm not exaggerating when I say I'll deal with every other fish on this list than a pack of predatory color coordinating squid. And I don't care what logic says. There's no doubt in my mind this squid would eat a human if they thought they could. Why? Humboldt squid only live about a year. That rapid
Colossal squid, you can see them live, but in Antarctica. Okay. Man. Actually. Man, I cannot. I would not want to be around a squid that would think that, I'm free eats. That's like, they're the pelicans of the ocean. What shark was it? Not sure.
But growth in a short time means they'll rarely pass up an easy meal, even if it's their own kind. Humboldts are highly cannibalistic, and they will not hesitate to turn on a weak or injured member of their own hunting party. There was a study done off the coast of Chile that found that out of over 2,000 squid, more than half
There was a shark that had colossal squid beaks in its stomach. I don't know. I don't know if any sharks that would be big enough to eat one, except for maybe a great white, and they don't really like squid.
held the remains of their own kind in their stomachs. It sounds to me that anything they see as weaker than them is something they can feed off. And
what's something that means tired? Exhausted? Because it ain't tired shark. Frilled? Was it a frilled shark? Hold on. Let me pull up Firefox again and see. Sleeper shark. Somniosis genus. Somniosis microcephalus. Oh, I see it. Beaks recovered from the stomachs of sleeper sharks suggest they feed on colossal squid. What is going on in there? What is going on in there? That sounds oddly sus.
What's it sound like?
I think you know what it sounds like.
That's not what you think.
Is she crying?
Yes.
Okay, so the anime girl's crying.
It's not an anime girl.
It sounds like it.
It's not.
Or Greenland shark. Well, it says on the wiki page that sleeper sharks were the ones eating colossal squid. Okay, as long as she's crying, Jesus. Calm down, TOS. Calm down, guidelines.
the only saving grace
Mortal affliction.
Oh, okay.
for us is they usually only press things smaller than they are. But you don't even have to be seen as food for affiliated squids to be a problem. Like a true xenophobic, they react to most things they don't understand with aggression, and they've even attacked cameras and equipment and left them out of order. But to me, the most disturbing aspect of getting assaulted by squids is, even if you escape, if you panic and surface too fast, you can get the bends and past tense anyway. That type of psychological horror is what puts the Humboldt here, and wouldn't you know, emotional damage is another symptom.
Look, Greenland and sleeper shark is a huge debate. Even scholars argue on. Okay.
And we're finding out about the next fish. Because now we got the stonefish. Not one of,
Fuck
but
stonefish.
the most venomous fish known to man. It's armed with verrucotoxin, and symptoms of getting stung include crippling pain, shock, tissue death, and even paralysis. And speaking of pain, you can be in agony for over 12 hours, and it's enough of an eternal jihad to cause hallucinations.
Jesus.
Anecdotally, there have been tourists who've
Oh my god. Basically, we don't know if they're different species. Okay. Good God, man. You can see the point of impact here. Holy fuck, they got elephantitis. I'm not showing this on fucking YouTube.
stepped on a stonefish only to beg their doctors to chop off the whole foot. Then there's the added threat of, if you don't get out of the water quick enough, it won't even be the venom. You can get paralyzed and catch a stage fatality to drowning. Even if you survive, you can still suffer permanent nerve damage and severe muscle atrophy. But that all wouldn't even...
My friend is eating stonefish. How the fuck do you eat a stonefish? How do you eat a stonefish? They have them in Japan. Oh my god. I could see pufferfish, like the fugu blowfish, but I would never see people trying a stonefish. Oh my god.
Even be that bad if the stonefish wasn't nature's manifestation of a dick move. The most venomous animals on the planet usually...
And there are videos on YouTube. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Dress with bright colors to warn the rest of the population that they're packing. Stonefish decided to do exactly none of that and instead cosplays as a stone, only to mortally punish you for its camouflage working. Like I said, it's like having invisibility but also serving the death penalty.
They fried them live. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna watch somebody fry a stonefish while it's still alive.
Every time someone steps on your foot.
Oh,
then you gotta
shit.
add the fact that there are another fish that can survive 24 hours out of the water, and they have a literal switchblade growing out of their forehead. Yeah, I knew they were a problem ever since one nearly perma-napped Nigel Thornberry. A stone cloaking...
Looks yum, and they don't even take out the spines. Nah, I'm not touching it. You're not gonna take out the thing that causes the death? No.
Toxic minefield of misery, but with stonefish antivenom being the second most administered in Australia, today if you get stung, your chances of surviving are actually pretty good. Not like the next fish, because for this one, there is no antidote. The stonefish might be the most venomous fish, but the pufferfish is arguably the most poisonous thing alive. Quick rule of thumb on the difference, if it bites you and you die, it's venomous. If you bite it and you become a wuzz, it's poisonous. And few things are more poisonous than puffer tetrodotoxin, which is 1,200 times more of a death sentence than cyanide. Tetrodotoxin interferes with signals between nerves and muscles, causing muscle paralysis and a total shutdown. And of course, the fugu blowfish is considered a delicacy, but if the chef misses a single cut even by a little, you're instantly on the clock. You won't know that happened until your face goes numb and your lips and tongue get this weird prickling feeling. Then, you'd suddenly get a splitting headache and dizziness to go at vomiting and diarrhea as your body desperately tries to purge the poison. But it's already too late and you start getting paralyzed.
I remember that Total Drama episode. That was wild.
Starting with the hands and feet, but slowly spreading out. And by this point, you likely can't even call for help. Finally, it'd get harder and harder to breathe.
You know how Asian restaurants have some stonefish served with the head and spine still there, biting while it's cut into? Jesus, no, Jesus. Just ill. It's already bad enough they fry them live, then they serve them live.
Until you notice the room slowly fade to black, leading to either a coma, seizure, or just death. The permanent kind. Tetrodotoxin essentially flips a kill switch in your body, and there is no antidote. The only treatment is hooking you up to a respirator to breathe for you and praying it passes. The poison puffball is such a problem, it makes you forget they also have teeth that can bite clean through your finger. In fact, it's more than enough to violate a scorpion.
Jesus.
I don't even know how to describe what they do to crabs. Turning crustacean into crustacean with a smile, no less. It's criminal. There's nothing funny about getting caught in that bite, with reports of pufferfish mutilating the genitals of men, and one case in 2008 where a Cambodian child had his coin purse sliced in half by a pufferfish. And unlike the candiru, this ain't a myth.
I wouldn't eat street food pufferfish. No, if I'm gonna eat fugu, I'm going to go to a 5-star restaurant that has enough reputation to where they have not ever failed serving the fish properly.
Have your privates out by a puffer and you might just get... So that's 6 of the sinister 7, but before we get to the last one, we got honorable mentions. The fact that there's a fish that weaponized electricity enough to decommission a caiman,
Good
we
God,
just accept
yeah,
that,
electric
it's kind
eel.
of crazy. And the thing is, it might not even be the voltage, but it's getting knocked
And the thing is, this is such a derpy motherfucker. You would never think that he would have that much electricity in his body. Like, he is such a derpy looking dude.
out in shallow water that'll get you. Swordfish are one of the fastest things in the sea.
Oh, yeah.
They also have a built-in melee weapon equipped capable of inflicting life-altering harm. In 2015, a Hawaiian man
Swordfish and marlin, both of them.
was fatally struck in the chest while trying to catch one. Another man in Malaysia bled to death after a swordfish yeeted itself out of the water and also RNG'd him in the chest. Swordfish are
Jesus.
also on record shanking sharks and even
The jumping electric eel is a thing. Yeah, I know, it's awful.
bleeding out sea turtles. The sheep's head fish. Really only because of that mouth. Shrimpophobics be damned.
And it's human-like teeth. This is why I don't like the pacu either, because they both have these kinds of teeth. They shouldn't. They should not have these kinds of teeth.
The Titan triggerfish is a highly aggressive honey badger with gills capable of dishing out severe injuries with the same teeth they use for crunching coral, sea urchins, and even a crown of thorns
He wants to
starfish.
smoke.
The trigger might as well be named after their temper, and this 1.5-foot vibe check is a big reason why beginner divers never go back in the water. Speaking of big, the Goliath grouper.
I love
At 8
him.
feet up to 800 pounds, the fish the size of a small car feels more like a leftover Jurassic prop.
He
Lucky
eats
for us,
sharks.
most divers describe it as a gentle giant with the temperament of a Saint Bernard.
The worst thing I ate is a hartebeest. What the fuck?
Although a Saint Bernard didn't allegedly swallow an entire kid in the
Whoa.
Florida Keys. Allegedly. But since we're on the subject, the last fish on this list are catfish. And yeah, that's kind of cheating.
I don't know if y'all have ever been fishing for catfish before. If you're not African, you won't know what a hartebeest is. Understood. Okay. I don't know if y'all have ever been catfishing before, but even in southern regions, like down here, they can get pretty fucking big. I remember one time my grandfather and I, we were in Logansport, Louisiana. You know, there's a Sabine River, and between that river is Logansport, Louisiana, and Joaquin, Texas. Catfish are yum, like super yum. They are. But we were fishing for sand bass, and we had only caught one, and it was a baby, so we let it go. But this guy pulled up. He asked us if we caught anything. We said no. He said, well, I had a trot line out there. I know my USA South. Good. He said, I had a trot line out there, and I was only going to catch like one bucket of catfish, but I ended up catching 3. They were blue cat. So he offered us a bucket. And we said, sure, we'll take one. He gave us 2. And all the way home, these catfish were just grunting the whole time. And I was petting them and stuff. And, like, they were super big. I could fit my whole hand in their mouths. I actually did, because I thought it was funny. But they didn't close their mouths, so I was okay. But they were making really funny grunt noises. And they have these little filaments on their jaws that scrape flesh off. And thankfully, you know, I wasn't stupid enough to, like, put pressure on that. But I did run my thumb across it because I wanted to see what it felt like. No damage, nothing like that. But it was like, I was so curious about these catfish. And I mean, I learned how to cut them up to eat. Because normally I didn't do the filleting. I just helped with the batter and whatnot. You know, they finally filmed colossal squid versus sperm whale. That's amazing. It's about time.
There's over 3,000 species of catfish, even including the genital jihad, the candiru. Catfish are like the trash compactors of the fish family,
Big
which
boy.
isn't a problem until you see just how big they can really get. And once a catfish gets big enough, there aren't a lot of things alive they won't try to eat. We've seen armadillos, turtles,
What the
and
fuck?
even unaware seagulls get bored by a catfish.
Jesus!
There's a species in France that figured out how to stalk and hunt bathing city pigeons. Another learned to wait by cave entrances to suck up any exhausted bats that fall in. There was even a
What the
catfish
fuck?
nicknamed Kuno the Killer who terrorized a German lake and somehow caught and ate someone's dog. Basically, they're all the shit I've talked about pelicans being, just in fish form. The question is, if a catfish has ever eaten a live human, and it isn't even if they would, but if they could. The Wells catfish can grow to 10 feet long and cap out at 300 pounds.
Big
McComb
boy.
catfish can also get to 10 feet, and the heaviest one ever recorded was pushing 650 pounds. If there's a
Fucking A,
catfish that can
that's a
stomach a
unit.
human, it should be one of these, but there's a slightly smaller catfish that was believed to be a legit man-eater. In the late 90s and early 2000s, a series of fatal attacks on people.
This is about the goonch, isn't it? Japanese giant salamander is my favorite aquatic animal. I love them. They're so cute. They're so cute. I love them. I want a plush of one. I really do. I think that would be great.
People in the Gully River had people convinced there was something in the water hunting humans. In these attacks, victims were suddenly pulled underwater in front of people, only for their bodies to never be recovered. In 2007, Atal Kumar was swimming with
It's just a little guy. It is.
friends when he was violently dragged
This has gotta be about the
underwater. While he
gooch.
was never seen again, friends caught a glimpse of something that they could only describe as an elongated pig. Crocs and bull sharks were
It's just a little cute guy. It is.
considered, but the prime suspect ended up being the goonch. At about over 6 feet, 200 pounds, the goonch
The
is
goonch
usually smaller
catfish.
than the whales and the Mekong. But it's feared that the practice of burning funeral
Catfish
pyres
can
by
be
the
big,
river
yeah.
led to the equal opportunist development.
Catfish can be really big. That's like, that is one of the things that I take into consideration when I go fishing. That if we catch any catfish, we have to remember that's not as big as they can get. That's just average size. Man, catfish are scary. I've been stabbed by a yellow cat, like a baby yellow cat, because nobody taught me. At the time, nobody had taught me that you need to grip the spine in a certain way to where you don't get filleted. So, for yellow cat, because they have heavy spines, they got one on each pectoral fin and one on the dorsal. You slide your fingers between the back of the dorsal so it can't go back down. And then you push your knuckles up behind the dorsal fins so that, their spines are facing forward and they can't just switchblade you. But at the time I didn't know that, so I got my finger got caught by a baby yellow cat.
Developing a taste for human flesh. And while it's a stretch to say a corpse-happy catfish could swallow an adult, it becomes a little less believable with children.
A little more
There's
believable
no solid proof of a
is what he
catfish
meant.
catching a person, but they for sure can off one. The biggest ones can easily overpower you, if not just knock you out and drown you. Not to mention a majority are venomous, with those spines putting both experienced fishermen and oblivious bystanders in the hospital. They
Yep.
also have a nasty sandpaper-like bite that can easily draw blood. But what really makes them a living horror movie is their intelligence. The ones packing up pigeons, they weren't always doing that, but they pretty much ate everything else around them and were forced to adjust. So it's anyone's guess what could happen if they gain a taste for humans. And with catfish being swimming tongues with over 175,000 taste buds across their bodies, yeah, I doubt acquiring taste takes long.
They're so
But yeah,
big.
that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, try not to get cat.
One time when I was a kid, I was playing. We were at YMCA camp, and it was an outdoor camp. There's this lake that everybody kayaks in, and you can swim in it too, but only to a certain distance. And then there was this plastic bucket around. I was just trying to catch some minnows. Caught a baby, like a little black catfish, in that bucket. It was the proudest thing I ever did.
Fished out here. If you'd like to see me swim with slightly less freaky fish, the full GoPro footage.
What about torpedoes? I mean, haven't done anything like that. Haven't seen anything like that. So that's not really my level of knowledge there.
Of me in Hawaii will be uploaded to my Patreon. And with that last second self-promo out the way, I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Okay. those some are stronger than electric eels. Like, fuck rays are scary if they were electric. Yeah, I don't blame you. They be scary. Alright, YouTube, so that's going to do it for this video. Please like it if you like it. Please dislike it if you dislike it. Give me criticism, whether that's constructive or destructive, in the comments below. Try our merch and join the Discord in the comments below. And with that being said, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.